Gents, switching gears now to Arsenal against Leeds United. Let's preview this big game for very different reasons for both of these teams. Arsenal obviously sitting pretty at the top of the Premier League table. Leeds battling in the relegation scrap down there, a couple of points above the drop zone after that big win before the break. And of course, we're going to focus on a couple of the USMNT players for Leeds in particular. Can they cause the Gunners some problems? But Andy, coming to you, can the Gunners be stopped? I mean, I worked it out that the magic number to win the title, they need to reach 95 points. That guarantees them that they can win it. And again, it's math, which is not usually my strong point, but they can afford to lose that game against Man City as long as they win their other remaining games and still be crowned champions. And the schedule's looking okay for Arsenal, but again, getting ahead of myself, just trying to figure out how this madness is going to unfold between now and the end of the season. But that's exciting, right, for Arsenal that we can actually figure this out now. And you're a Tottenham fan, I'm sorry, but
I'm sure it is.
But for Arsenal fans, it's exciting, I should have said. And we're getting to that stage of the season now where the numbers, the calculators are out, and every single game, they all mean so much. But now it means more.
Yeah, you ask, can they be stopped? And I don't see it. Honestly, because of what they've done in recent weeks. They lose to Man City, and we think, okay, here comes the wobble. They've been beaten head-to-head for the second time, the other time being in a different competition. And we think, all right, is this where they start to crack? It's a young team, a team that's never been in this situation before. They beat Villa 4-2. They beat Leicester 1-0, grinded out, and then that was the only close game they've played for over a month. 4-0 against Everton. I guess 3-2 versus Bournemouth, and they come back, and that was an incredibly crazy game, but then immediately followed up 3-0 against Fulham, 4-1 against Crystal Palace. They have played a lot of bottom half teams and even just lesser top half teams and blown them away, given them no opportunity in the game. And that, to me, is kind of the mark, is a real mark of a champion. You go out there from minute one and you set the tone, you dominate the game, you control the game, you take the game to the other team, and you show that, they're showing that I think they believe they're the best team in the Premier League. And I think on talent, probably not. But performance and the way that they play together and the way that the manager has them playing and just the belief that exists within the team right now, it's hard to not see them maintaining that for just a few more weeks because they have done it for such a long portion of this season. They've not backed into the position that they're in any way. They have put themselves in this position. So I've tried to find ways that they don't win the title. I've tried to find, this is the path to City coming back and Arsenal dropping just enough points, and I just can't find them now at this point. 8 points, even with the game in hand for City, it's a massive gap with barely 10 games to go.
It's so true. And Nick, Andy mentioned it there, that Arsenal believe now that they can win the title and they're the best team in the Premier League. Do you believe that Bukayo Saka is the best player on potentially the best team in the Premier League? Because he's really driving them towards a title now. He maybe took a little while to get going this season, but he was brilliant for England during the international break. And along with Martin Odegaard, I think those are the two guys that you'd say, they're going to be player of the season candidates in the Premier League. And it's kind of a flip of a coin between the two of them. But maybe Saka's just overtaken Odegaard in the last month or so. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. So best player, yes. Most important player, unsure. Because of Odegaard, because by the way, and I don't want to bring him up, but this just shows the depth of their, I don't want to dwell on him, the depth of their talent. Have you looked at Martinelli's numbers this year? They're insane. Like, this team is just, they're coming from the left, they're coming from the right, they're coming right up the middle. It reminds me of a couple of years ago when we would talk about, well, is this guy, is Eden Hazard, is he the most important player to Chelsea? No. Is he their best player? Yes. He is who they need to get it. But there are other pieces back there. Saka, to me, watching him for England, I think I texted this to you guys, something along these lines. If he was not English, and again, usually I'm telling you guys that we overrate the English players. Yep. If he was Brazilian or German, I think we're just talking about this guy as on another level. He takes over games with his electricity, because it's not just creativity, it's not just craft, and it's not just pace. It's this total package of, wow, we're watching something really fun. And to think about his age and what could still be to come, if this, this could be his top level, let's be honest. But if there is another level then what are we talking about when we're watching that? Because the England game, the second game, totally forgetting who they played against, Ukraine. Yeah. He was on another level, and he was floating. It was, that time when a player is in so much form that it doesn't even look like their feet are touching the ground, that it doesn't look like their legs need to fire for them to run. It was as good of a player as you've seen in a I don't know, a long time.
Yeah, he's just the perfect modern player, and how wide teams play in terms of getting the ball to wingers, expecting them to carry the ball, to cut inside, to be explosive, to read situations, even to defend a lot. I remember speaking to him a few seasons ago now when he just first broke into the team. He played against Newcastle. Pretty sure he played left back that day and had a really good game going forward. But defensively, that's what I love about him. He's a total team player. Mm-hmm. And if there's one player that really epitomizes this Arsenal team under Mikel Arteta, I think it's Bukayo Saka. No, I'm sure it's Bukayo Saka because he's creative, explosive, clinical, but also
they also rally around him. They love him in that team as well.
Yeah, they do. They do. And it's going to be intriguing to see who wins these individual awards at the end of the season, but I'm pretty sure Saka and Odegaard are going to be at top of most lists when all is said and done. Talking about the top of the list, top of the table, that's Arsenal. Bottom of the table, towards it, Leeds United. Andy, they eased their relegation fears with that big win against Wolves before the international break, but a tough run of games coming up. They're 2 points above the drop zone, and it feels like this is in a very precarious position, as it has been for Leeds throughout most of the last two seasons. But we'll talk about it with the big injury news to Tyler Adams. That will hit them hard, but they're just a very unpredictable team, and it seems like now they've gone from being a bit lacking of creativity and goal scoring opportunities under Jesse Marsch, because they wanted to go away from being that chaos team that would win games 4-3 every weekend. So now they're, after that bit of a boring spell, they're almost going back, reverting to type a little bit. And that's probably for the best for them, right? And their chances of staying up and pushing up the table. But there's a lot of risk reward in this situation Leeds find themselves. And Javi Gracia isn't known as being a particularly attack-minded coach. So I think they're just trying to figure out right now the best balance for this team. And it's difficult, especially when you've only got 11 games of the season to go to save yourself.
Yeah. It was a week or two ago that we predicted relegation teams, and I didn't pick Leeds. I probably had them in 17th, just outside. But as you say that, it's the perfect earmark of a relegation team that you spend all season going back and forth. We want to be this. We want to be that. We want to be this. We want, as a response to poor results, constantly changing the ideas and the way that you're playing. And for Gracia to have been in for 5 or 6 games now at this point, seemed to have stabilized them defensively. They weren't creating really anything going forward, but it felt like there was something to build on there. And to kind of scrap that and go back to, as you say, a bit of the chaos that they had under Jesse Marsch, and they're drawing a game 2-2 that they should have won. They win one 4-2, but I believe massively outperformed in a lot of the statistical categories in that game by Wolves. I don't know. This doesn't feel sustainable to me, and certainly not against Arsenal this weekend, but just kind of looking over the rest of the season. 2 points above the relegation zone is nothing. A win gives you 24, 36 hours of reprieve from the relegation battle, and then you're immediately back into it just because of how many teams are down there. Thinking about the other teams down there, they all kind of have their way of playing. They have their way of being, and Leeds is just swinging back and forth from game to game based on what happened in the last game, and that's kind of the last place you want to be.
Yeah, it really is. And the last place Tyler Adams wants to be right now is on the treatment table, but Nick, reports come out in the Athletic saying that he's undergone surgery on his hamstring, which never seems to be a good situation, and reportedly will miss a huge chunk of the remainder of the season for Leeds United. So that's a massive blow for the USMNT captain. He was brilliant at the World Cup. I think if you ask any Leeds fans, along with Illan Meslier, those two have been the standout performers and most consistent performers for Leeds this season. So how do Leeds cope with that? And for Tyler Adams, both for Leeds and for the USA, how big of a blow is this? Because I'm already thinking ahead to the summer for the USA, and if this isn't a short-term injury, which it doesn't seem like it's going to be, then he's key, isn't he, for club and country? So a really disappointing injury for Tyler Adams to pick up, specifically at this point, the business end of his first Premier League season.
It's big. There's no doubt about it. It's big. He is the sort of player who allows other players freedoms. And I love when him and Roca are out there together. I really, really do. I don't know that I love Roca if Adams isn't out there with him. And I think about that for Luke Ayling. I think about that for other players who maybe Adams allows them to do their jobs a lot easier. I think they're in a real problem, if not for the fact that they have some attacking talent who can get you a goal out of nothing. And I think of Newcastle teams that I watched over the years that you worried about, well, who's going to score the goals or create the chances to keep them up? I think there are a lot of guys there. Andy pointed out a few weeks ago that, Rodrigo's cooled off, but he's still a very good player. Jack Harrison has been showing up at pretty big times, and he hasn't quit on this. Nato is being discussed as his next stop is either like Juve or AC Milan or Inter Milan. I don't think we're appreciating how good he's been. So even Somerville coming off the bench, I think they have enough attacking talent to stay up, but I am also stubborn and said they were going down last week. So I think that Wolves win is probably way bigger than a lot of us are giving it credit for, because I don't know where else they're going to get points this year. And they were outperformed.
Yeah, but Tyler Adams is intriguing to see the makeup in midfield with him being out. Weston McKennie is probably going to start alongside Roca, and different type of midfielder. Maybe he gives Leeds slightly more drive and creativity from central midfield. Is a bit more attack-minded to Tyler Adams, but defensively, maybe some question marks around that. Still getting up to speed in the Premier League, and that's not his main attribute and his main quality in those midfield areas. So, yeah, it's going to be a big miss. Tyler Adams is a great player, obviously fantastic in his first season at Leeds, and Nick, you make a great point there about the entire unit. I think defensively, Leeds have been a lot better this season. A lot of that is down to Tyler Adams and his organisation, the high press, all the rest of it. So now it's all about can they deal without him? And another couple of injuries for Leeds as well, Noto and also Voba as well. Both of those players suffered injuries, so not sure how long they're going to be out for, but a couple of big players there out wide in midfield and at centre back for Leeds just when they look to have a settled team. So let's wait and see what happens. Andy, prediction time. What do you think is going to happen at the Emirates this weekend as Arsenal take on Leeds?
3-0.
Oh, easy.
We all know it. We all know it. Saka, early goal. Martinelli will probably get one. Yeah, sounds about right. I'm going to go with that as well. 3-0 is a great prediction. Nick, do we have a full house?
I want to do it just to have the full house, but no, I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to go 5-2. When you guys mentioned McKennie and Roca out there together, I thought, Leeds starts a lot of fires and Adams puts a lot of fires out, and I'm not sure that McKennie is the same sort of firefighter. So, no. But I bet they are fun, so I'm going 5-2.
All right, it's going to be a fun one. Arsenal against Leeds this weekend. Head over to Pro Soccer Talk and NBCSports.com for all the latest how to watch information, preview, team news, and analysis and reaction during the game. We'll have you covered. Arsenal pushing for the Premier League title. One big final push now. And for Leeds, just scrapping to stay in the Premier League.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host for NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch more videos all season long. For even more Premier League content, from original series to live matches, head over to Peacock and be sure to tune in for Premier League mornings every weekend on USA Network and on Peacock. We will see you over there.